In the last clip I talked about using style sheets, external style sheets, internal style sheets and inline styles, but there's another way, there's a neater way of doing styles than using inline styles and internal style sheets, and that's using ID and class selectors. If I show you this little setup here, I've just got two pages, home page and a second page. There's nothing much on them, there's just a H1 heading and an anchor tag on both of them, if you look at them in a browser, it doesn't really do much, just clicks between the two pages, simple as that. If I go to this home page and add a little bit of text here, let's say this is so, and I'm going to put a little warning, size just duplicated for some reason there, text to be warn you about lots of dangerous things, something like that. And what I'm going to do with those beats is I'm going to put a class name in there. I'm going to give a class name of CLS equals I don't know, call it warning, and I'm going to take that class name and I'm going to give Control C. I'm going to give that bold tag that class name, and I'm going to give that bold class that tag name, and I'll give the heading as well that class name. There we go. Control S. Now nothing will happen at the moment because in the style sheet there is no style for warning. So we're going to give this class selector the name of warning, and class selectors are different from that. That basically says that every heading, every H1 heading will get the colour blue, whereas a dot says only those titles or those tags with warning in them as a class will get altered. So we're going to call this warning, and we'll call it, we'll give it a sort of red, something as simple as that. Okay, so any tag which has a class of warning will be turned red. If I go back over here and I'll have, let's just put another paragraph here, say /p bold, so there. Okay, so that bold tag there has a class of warning, that bold tag there has a class of warning, that heading has a class of warning, but that bold tag hasn't, and that anchor tag hasn't. Control S. Let's have a look at what that looks like on this page. Okay, so it's come up and said this is a warning text to warn you about lots of dangerous things. So there, let's go back to my style sheet, and just a second, pause that. Sorry, had to sort something out there. Okay, so what I want to do now is go to style sheet, and I want to Control S to save that. If we have a look at the home page, hit F5 on that, you can see that it's turned every tag which has got the class selector of warning in it, it's turned it red. Now what's interesting about the class selectors is that and ID selectors for that matter, is that this tag here is a bold tag. And we're giving it the class of warning, or warning with tone red. Well, you can actually go and switch that bold tag off if you wanted to. So you can say colour red, and you can type in just a second, cursor's completely disappeared. Font weight normal, and Control S back here. So I've actually completely overridden the bold tag there by turning it red and making it normal rather than bold. If I go back over here, what I can do is say, well, I don't really want the H1. I want these bold ones here underlined, but I don't want H1 underlined as well. So if I just went to style sheet, and if I put here, if I stick in here text decoration underline, Control S, that's going to underline everything with that particular tag in it. Why does my cursor keep disappearing? Over there we go. So everything's underlined. These tags here, the bold tags, are underlined, but so is the heading. So what I can do with this selector is I can take that text decoration underline, Control X, take that out of there, and what I can now say is just bold tags with warning, underline those. Text decoration underline, Control S, save that. Now what should happen is that all warnings will be red, which is the heading 1 and the bold tags, but only bold tags will be red and underlined as well. If I hit F5, there we are. There's your heading, it's red but not underlined, whereas these are underlined. One final thing I was just going to say is there is another concept which is similar to class selectors, and that's an ID selector, and they start with a hash, and the idea is that you can have many classes on a page but you can only have one ID. Now IDs, if you put multiple IDs of the same name on a page, it will look like it'll work. So if I call this scary, let's and say this is color blue, let's make it blue, and make its foreground color something like that, and that if I use that ID selector, Control Save, and if I go to home page, and let's say I have I'll change this, I'll put in a couple of new tags here. Let's call this H3 and call this ID long scary, and say this is a scary heading. Control Save that. That should be over here. That should give us that scary heading. Now it looks like you can use ID selectors more than once, and if I was to take that whole thing, Control X, Control V, and put it in twice, so I've used the ID twice, it looks like it will work. If I go over here, hit F5, it does seem to have worked. However, the second you try doing something with an ID selector, let's say I don't know, JavaScript or something like that, it will mess out on you, because you're supposed to have only one ID of scary on a page, but you can have multiple classes of warning. Have a little play, see how you get on with class and ID selectors.